Hi, welcome back to Twang. I'm Dave. Okay, so using triads in our improvisation. We've done some videos on this. I think they all used major triads. Can't remember exactly, but this one is a 3-chord progression, but 2 of the chords are minor. So you're going to learn some new triads today, and also a scale that helps you to connect those triads. So sometimes when I say triads, we're going to have their groups of 3 notes that are the basic notes that make up a chord. And this will make more sense at the end of the lesson or throughout it. But for example, on the D minor, this is one of them. I'm going to put up some diagrams in a minute that show all of this. So when over this whole progression, which, let me show you what the chords are real quick. D minor, G, A minor for 2 measures. Okay, so you'll have a practice loop at the end that'll have the chords and that playing for you to practice over. So back to that D minor. That's one of our triads, okay? Now, that means that over that chord, that's going to be 100% reliable. Okay? And then, essentially, we do the same thing, same idea with the other chords. Okay, don't worry. I'm going to give you diagrams that show you everything that just happened there, starting in just a minute here. But I just want you to see what the concept here is. So when we're practicing this progression, your routine is going to be seeking out the triads that go with each one of these 3 chords and moving around and doing those. But also working in some stuff that we've already been working on a lot on this channel. A minor pentatonic. Okay. If that looks strange to you, then, look into that a little bit. That'll help you get more on par with this lesson. And just in the last couple of lessons, in the last week or so, there's been one like a 12-bar blues with an A minor pentatonic. It's a perfect one to just review that. So, take a breath. That was kind of, a spotty overview. Now, let's get down to what's really going on here. Let's take this first chord in our progression, D minor. One way you might commonly see D minor, or up there. Okay, if you don't know all those, that's okay. Here's basically what's going on. Each one of these neck diagrams has 3 groupings of notes that are circled there, right? The red dots in those groupings are the root, D. The other notes in each one aren't labeled, but that'd be some good homework for you. See if you can figure out what those notes are and how they make up that basic chord. You don't have to do all that work to do what I'm about to show you. So let's take the D minor. I use it as an example. Then apply this same work to the G and the A minor diagrams yourself. Okay. That's the first one down there. Now remember, that one could also be moved up here because that nut is just like you're starting over right here. Okay, make sure you remember that, because you don't want to exclude. This is a real sweet part of your neck. Sometimes it's really easier to visualize it down here and then kind of shift it up there, right? The next one is, okay. Now, pause your video when you get done watching this the first time and really go back and sit on each one of these diagrams and just kind of go up and down the neck, memorizing them. And not just memorizing them by thinking about them or looking at them, but by, repeating with your hand over and over what those shapes are and the spaces in between. Use any fingers that you want. Okay, now, without going through the other two in the interest of time, do that same work on the G and the A minor one. Does that make sense? And there'll be links in the description section where you can pull each one of these up individually, right? You don't have to always fish around through the video to look for them. So, here's what's going on. Some D minor stuff. Well, that sounds pretty good with that D minor. Then when I go to G, I want one for G. Okay, we're not looking at the neck diagram right now, but this is what's on there. For G. Don't try to copy this. Go ahead and study all three of them. But let me turn the backing track on and I'll show you what happens if you plug what we did on the D minor into each three of them respectively. Here's what starts happening. You gotta see where I am in the D minor. Caught up. D minor, G, A minor, this is working out well. Now, this might be the first time that you pause and say, okay, I think I got half of what he's saying to do there. Let me go and pull these neck diagrams up and start working on it. That's pretty much it. Now, if you look at that intro demonstration was a little wilder than maybe it should have been to demonstrate this that well. Sometimes I just let myself go and I just play whatever I feel like playing in those intros. But that's pretty much it. Now, this time I'm going to turn the backing track back on and use triads, but also connect it with my pentatonic stuff and mix a little bit of that in there. See how that works. Here we are at the top. that's working out pretty good. Now there I'm trying to, keep it really just using what we just talked about. Okay? So, start off studying those triads and just trying to work on switching from each chord to the next. Okay? Here's some good news though. Let me lay this on you. This would make you feel good. The notes of each one of them are still going to work well in that key. So here's what I mean. If I'm doing my D minor and I don't get to my G in time and, now I'm just crashing and burning. No. Be patient because you're still going to make good musical choices doing that. Watch this. That's the G, A minor. So I'll start on my D minor. Now, when you do it, when you're using one of the other triads against a different chord, you'll feel more tension, but that's good. And it'll start to pull you one fret or two frets one way or the other to kind of resolve that, right? For me, that time it felt like I needed to... See? Now, be patient with yourself, but really try to, as best you can, switch them when each chord comes. But also allow a little hanging around on some of them to get that tension. Not to run away with it there at the end, but that's just a little forward look at where you're going with this, right? So at first, just really invest in using the triad for each chord and moving those around and memorizing them, okay? This was a lot. This was a lot of data. So we might even do like a part 2 on this to kind of consolidate it more, or to, I guess, include more about the method here. But hopefully this is a good start. Let me know how you're doing with it, okay? All right. Until next time, thank you.